There's something nobody tells you when you start making money. Money isn't managed with your wallet. It's managed with your mind. Most people believe that being rich is about earning a lot. But in truth, wealth begins long before the bills arrive. It begins with how you think, with the small decisions you make every day. With that moment, you decide whether money works for you or you work for it. Let me tell you how I think, how the rich think, and how you can do the same, even if your bank account doesn't yet reflect it. Because the mind of a rich person doesn't depend on the balance they have, but on the system they build. Imagine your money as an army. Every dollar is a soldier. Most people send their soldiers out without a plan. They spend without direction, not knowing whether they're defending their future or losing the month's battle. The rich, however, think like generals. Every dollar has a mission. Some soldiers go into the war of consumption, because of course we have to live, eat, and enjoy. But many others stay behind to build fortresses, savings, investments, financial education. That's the difference between someone who sees money as a means to survive and someone who sees it as a tool to create freedom. When I started changing my mindset, the first thing I learned was that I needed to stop thinking in terms of how much I earn and start thinking in terms of how I use what I earn. It doesn't matter if you make $500 or $5,000 a month. What matters is what you do with it. The rich understand that every dollar has a purpose. It's not about being stingy, it's about being conscious. Poor people buy things to look rich. Rich people buy time, freedom, and opportunity. Think of it this way. Every time you buy something you don't need, you're stealing from your future self. It's as if your future version is asking you for help, and you're replying, "Sorry, I'm busy paying for something I don't even use anymore." The money you waste today is the money that could have been working for you tomorrow. And here comes one of the most powerful keys, the magic proportion of money. No matter how much you make, you must learn to divide it wisely. Imagine your income as a cake. If you eat it all at once, it's gone in minutes. But if you slice it strategically, you'll always have a piece for investing, one for saving, one for growing, and yes, one for enjoyment. I learned to divide my money like this: 50% for basic needs, 20% for savings and investments, 20% for education and self-development, and 10% for pleasure or giving. It might sound small, but that single habit, maintained with discipline, changes your life more than any raise ever could. Financial education is the master key to freedom. The rich aren't born knowing how money works. They study it, watch it, understand it. I started reading books, watching videos, making mistakes. I realized that money is a language, and if you don't speak it, you become its servant. When you learn its grammar, saving, investing, compound interest, cash flow, you start conducting the orchestra. Each financial concept is like a musical note that, when played well, composes your symphony of abundance. Another major difference lies in how we handle debt. People with a poor mindset see debt as a way to buy things they can't afford. The rich see debt as a tool. A poor person uses credit to buy a TV. A rich person uses it to start a business, invest in an asset, or develop skills. It's the same tool, but with a different purpose. It's like a knife. It can cut bread or cause harm. It all depends on who's holding it and with what intention. Money doesn't multiply in the hands of those who fear it. It multiplies in the hands of those who respect it. And respecting money means understanding that it's not the goal, it's the vehicle. The rich don't work just for money. They work for independence, for impact, for creating something that lasts. Money is the fuel, not the destination. That changes everything. Many people ask me how it's possible to save or invest when income barely covers the basics. I tell them the key is to start small, but start, even if it's just 1%. Money grows like a plant. It doesn't thrive because you pour a bucket of water once, but because you water it every day. If you set aside even a small amount each month, you send a powerful message to your brain. I control my money. It doesn't control me. That message builds discipline, and discipline builds wealth. The rich also save mental energy. They don't waste their focus on things that don't matter. They know every small decision, every unnecessary coffee, every impulsive purchase chips away at their attention. And attention is the scarcest resource of all. That's why they automate their finances. Separate accounts, automatic payments, recurring investments. They remove friction and let the system work for them. If you have to decide every month how much to save, you'll fail sooner or later. But if you automate it, saving becomes part of your nature, like breathing. Finally, I understood that the rich don't seek to have more. They seek to be more. They invest in mindset, knowledge, and environment, because they know that wealth won't last if the mind doesn't grow at the same pace as the bank account. A poor person earns more and increases spending. A rich person earns more and increases awareness. The money you manage well becomes an extension of your character, a reflection of your vision. Wealthy thinking isn't built by luck. It's built by intention. And it begins the moment you stop asking, how much do I have? And start asking, what can I create with what I have? That's the question that changes everything. When I understood that wealth was a habit, not a result, everything changed. I stopped waiting for luck or raises and started designing my life like an architect designs a building, with plans, structure, and purpose. Money, like the foundation, only supports what you build on top. If your mind is weak, your building collapses, no matter how much concrete you pour. But if your mindset is strong, you can build even with few bricks. One thing I noticed about rich people is that they don't live in fear of the future. They live in preparation. They know that hard times come for everyone, but while some drown, they already have their life raft ready. Having an emergency fund isn't just a financial habit, it's psychological armor. When you know you can survive 3 or 6 months without income, fear disappears. And when fear disappears, decisions improve. Fear is the most expensive tax there is. It costs you opportunities you never took. The rich also understand the difference between spending and circulating money. They don't see it as something that goes away, but as something that moves. They circulate money into things that create flow, assets, education, experiences that generate value. Think of money as the bloodstream of your life. If it stagnates, it gets sick. If it flows with purpose, it nourishes everything it touches. When you spend on education, you don't lose money. You transform it into knowledge, and knowledge generates more money. When you invest in tools, business, or relationships, you're sending your money out to work and return multiplied. I once met an entrepreneur who told me something I'll never forget. Most people spend their money to look rich. I spend mine so I don't have to worry about money anymore. That hit me hard. Because deep down, what we all want isn't money, it's freedom. Freedom to decide how, where, and with whom we live. Money is simply the door to that freedom. But if you misuse it, it becomes your prison. And here's a truth most people don't want to hear. Wealth requires patience. The rich understand the power of time. They don't try to get rich overnight. They build wealth like planting a tree. They know they won't see fruit right away, but they keep watering, keep nurturing, because the real power of money lies in compound growth, not just in investments, but in habits. Every good financial decision compounds. Each day you avoid unnecessary debt, choose to save, or choose to learn, you're adding invisible layers to your future. Think of it as a snowball rolling down a mountain. At first it's small, almost insignificant, but as it rolls, it gathers more and more. That's financial growth. You don't notice it day by day, but over time it becomes unstoppable. The rich don't chase money. They let money chase them because they set their snowball in motion years ago. But not everything is about accumulating. The rich also know how to enjoy life wisely. They don't buy out of anxiety or for approval. They buy out of conscious pleasure. They don't need to prove anything because their self-worth isn't tied to what they own, but to what they can create. The difference between buying something because you deserve it and buying something to fill a void is enormous. The first gives satisfaction. The second leaves you emptier. Most people are trapped in a cycle. They work to earn, spend to escape the stress of working, then work again to pay for what they spent. It's a wheel that never stops. The rich break that wheel by understanding a simple principle. Money should buy you time, not the other way around. If your job gives you money but steals your life, you're losing the game. That's why the rich use money to buy time. They delegate, they invest in systems, they automate income. And yes, that brings us to investing. Investing isn't just for those who have a lot of money. It's for those who have vision. Investing is planting a seed today so you don't have to work for it tomorrow. The rich invest in real estate, in businesses, in stocks, but also in themselves. Every course, every mentorship, every book that sharpens their mind is an investment with returns. Because while money spent on things depreciates, money spent on knowledge multiplies. You don't need thousands to start. Start with what you have, even if it's small. There are tools and opportunities for everyone, but beyond the vehicle, what matters is the mindset. Don't ask, how much will I earn from this? Ask, what will this teach me? Because the rich don't just seek financial return, they seek intellectual growth. Another principle I learned from them is the power of environment. Your financial mindset is shaped by the conversations you hear. If everyone around you complains about money, prices, or the economy, your mind aligns with scarcity. But if you surround yourself with people who talk about ideas, opportunities, and growth, your mind expands. It's like your brain is a garden. Ideas are seeds and conversations are the weather. You can't expect to harvest abundance if you're always under the rain of negativity. The rich also master an invisible art, the art of saying no. No to impulsive purchases. No to premature luxuries. No to bad advice. Saying no today means saying yes to freedom tomorrow. Every conscious no is a silent investment in your future. While others chase instant gratification, you're building delayed power. And eventually, that power shows. Not because you have more things, but because you have more peace. True wealth is measured in tranquility, in the ability to sleep without debt, to enjoy a coffee without thinking of bills, to say no to a job you dislike because you have options. That is real abundance. Understand this. The difference between you and a rich person isn't how much they earn. It's how many correct decisions they make with what they have. Every dollar that passes through your hands is a vote. You either vote for your freedom or for your dependence. And you cast that vote every day, with every purchase, with every choice. So manage your money like the rich, even if you earn little. Because wealth begins when you treat your money with respect, not fear. It begins when you stop comparing yourself and start building your own system. When your income grows, and trust me, it will if you keep this mindset, you'll already have the foundation to sustain it. Most people collapse when they earn more because they never learned to manage less. You'll be ready. And when that day comes, when you look back and see how you multiplied your money, your stability, and your peace of mind, you'll realize it wasn't luck. It was awareness. It was discipline. It was self-love expressed through financial responsibility. So do it. Start today with what you have. Divide, save, invest, learn. You don't need to be rich to think like one. You need to think like one to become rich. Because the rich aren't defined by their bank accounts. They're defined by how they understand life. And that, my friend, is something anyone can choose to do, starting right now.